With the OKC Thunder continuing their domination over the league and the Spurs taking a massive leap this season, these two squads are poised to be must-see matchups for many years to come. Hello everyone and welcome back to Step Back with Zach, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about the future of both the OKC Thunder and the San Antonio Spurs and why they will be the teams running the league for the foreseeable future. Now, before I get into it though, yesterday we had some pretty tragic news where Memphis Grizzlies big man Brandon Clarke passes away at the age of 29. My thoughts and prayers are with his family and his loved ones. And at the end of the day, this is much bigger than basketball. Brandon Clarke was 29 years old, still a young man with a bright future ahead of him. Rest in peace to him, man. It sucks. It's really sad. And then we also had former NBA big man Jason Collins, who passes away at age 47 due to brain cancer. Both of these passings happened on the same day, which is incredibly tragic. But Jason Collins was a pioneer of the game. He was the first openly gay NBA player, paving the way for people to feel more safe and accepted in a chosen community. Rest in peace to both of these men. Thoughts and prayers to their family and loved ones. It's always a touchy subject, and it's quite frankly something I don't know how to cover, but I did just want to mention it because it's incredibly tragic. But back to the basketball side of things. Like I mentioned, the San Antonio Spurs and the OKC Thunder are going to be the two best teams for the foreseeable future in the NBA. These two teams are the best teams in the NBA even today, where they both finished with the top two records of the season, where OKC won 64 games and the San Antonio Spurs won 62. Both of these, despite pretty injury-riddled seasons. And both of these teams are led by the two best players in the NBA, being Gilgeous-Alexander and Victor Wembanyama. I want to start with the OKC Thunder first, just because this is the team that is currently on top. They are led, like I mentioned, by SGA, who's only 27 years old, is coming off a regular season MVP, a finals MVP, a championship, and a scoring title, while still also having a very, very, very damn good generational rim protector in Chet Holmgren, who's only 24, first-time All-Star this season, and likely to be an All-NBA player as well. They've also still got J-Dub, who's only 25, Jalen Williams, that is, who last season was in the All-Defensive team and finished in the All-NBA third team, and scored 40 points in a finals game. And then upcoming incredible story, AJ Mitchell, who is only 23 years old and is looking like the second coming of Jalen Brunson with much better defense. And then to go along with these four megastars, they are loaded with absolutely incredible depth, probably the best in the entire NBA, while having definitively the best defensive depth we have ever seen in the history of the NBA. Like I mentioned before, SGA is coming off a historic season, becoming now one of only 4 players in NBA history to win the regular season MVP, the finals MVP, and the scoring title, alongside Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Pretty damn elite company. Shea is the most efficient, high-volume scoring player that we have ever seen in the NBA and is debatably having one of, if not the best, scoring peak of all time. Love him or hate him, SGA is a super talented offensive weapon and can always get his own no matter what. And then when he's not playing up to his standards, just like in this previous LA Lakers series where Marcus Smart did an incredible job on him, you have players like Chet Holmgren and AJ Mitchell who are able to step up to help propel the Thunder to still blowing out teams. SGA is going to be a problem for the league for years to come, and his ability to put the ball in the hoop is unlike anything we have ever seen before. Chet Holmgren, like I mentioned before, is one of the best defenders in the NBA and is a generational rim protector. In a league without Victor Wembanyama, I could very easily see Chet Holmgren winning multiple Defensive Player of the Year awards, but unfortunately for him, he is in a league with Victor Wembanyama. He's also dramatically improved his offensive game. He's shooting the ball a lot better, he's looking a lot more aggressive, his touch around the baskets looked a lot better, and recently in these playoffs, he is dunking absolutely everything. Jalen Williams, J-Dub, probably my favorite player on the OKC Thunder, is the most versatile defender on this team. He's 6'5", but he's got a 7-foot plus wingspan. I think it's like 7'2" or something insane like that. He's a great downhill attacker. He's got a signature scoop layup that he loves to do. But the fact that he can guard any person on the floor 1 through 5 is incredible. And then AJ Mitchell, like I mentioned before, is looking like the second coming of Jalen Brunson. There is a hot topic around the NBA at the moment where people are saying that the Thunder should trade him or that he should walk because he could very easily lead a team. He is proving it. The fact that he averaged only 7 minutes per game in the playoffs last season to this season being a heavy favorite for the 6th Man of the Year award and the most improved player while becoming the second most important player on OKC in terms of offense with J-Dub's injury, this improvement has been dramatic and it is looking really, really good. And I can kind of see where people are coming from with the Jalen Brunson comparisons, where we saw once Brunson left Dallas, he became a superstar. The last 3 seasons, the OKC Thunder have finished as the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. Back in 2024, they did end up getting eliminated by the Dallas Mavericks in the second round, but then the year after, so last season, they go on to win 68 games and the championship. And then this season, they win 64 games despite all the injuries that they suffered. Specifically, J-Dub, Jalen Williams, only played 33 games this season, and Isaiah Hartenstein missed a lot of time as well. This team is looking to go back-to-back to become the first repeat champions since the 2018 Golden State Warriors. If we look at what this team has done in the playoffs so far, Chet Holmgren has been elite on both sides of the floor. In the playoffs, he is averaging 19 points and 9 rebounds on an incredible 60% from the field and 39% from 3, and is currently 37 for 38 when it comes to scoring in the restricted area. That dude has only missed 1 shot this entire playoff run in the restricted area. J-Dub as well, although only being limited to 2 games due to that hamstring strain, he has looked incredibly dominant defensively, like I mentioned before, being super versatile. But what was a struggle for J-Dub this season was his scoring. However, in this postseason, he is averaging, across those 2 games, so it's a very small sample size, but it was against Phoenix, who have some pretty good defenders over there, 20.5 points per game on 61.5% field goal shooting and 50% from 3 on 4 attempts a night. And then Shea as well is always going to get his. He's averaging 29 points per game on 51% field goal shooting. And although his 3-point shot has seemingly left him, he's only shooting 32% from the field, or from 3 rather, and only 85% from the line, which for Shea is not very great. He's still just super dominant. All the defensive attention is being put onto him, and his teammates are really stepping up in a big way. Like I mentioned before, AJ Mitchell has become the second most important offensive player on this team, while still playing really good defense. The Thunder are the 11th team in NBA history to start the postseason 8-0. The Golden State Warriors with Kevin Durant, I think it was the 2018 season, they started 15-0. Which is crazy to think about, but still, this Thunder team has not lost in the playoffs yet, and although it's not against the hardest competition ever, like it was the Phoenix Suns and the LA Lakers without Luka Doncic, they won these games in a dominant fashion, only trailing at the start of the 4th quarter 1 time, which was Game 4 against the LA Lakers, where the LA Lakers just needed to absolutely work and put their head down and grind to even stand a chance to win this game. And ultimately, we all know what happened in that one. But other than that, they only won by less than double digits 1 time, which is ridiculous. And like I said as well, the fact that SGA was more neutralized than we thought he was going to be, and Marcus Smart really held his own, the Thunder still convincingly dominated and won this matchup. They won 2 games by 18 points, Game 3 by 23 points, and they did only win by 5 points in Game 4, but still, it was an incredible game. And the Thunder are elite. This team is so good. Love him or hate him, you cannot deny the greatness. Jared McCain as well was an incredible pickup by Sam Presti. A big thing that the Thunder needed to address that was very blatantly obvious after they won the finals last year was the fact that they needed a secondary ball handler and a shot creator coming off the bench. And although J-Dub does fill the secondary ball handler role, he's still not exactly who you want in that position. And AJ Mitchell stepping up really helps in this role. And Jared McCain coming in to be a good creator off the dribble and an elite spot-up shooter fills this hole so well. Last year, the OKC Thunder had the highest point per game differential compared to their opponents in NBA history, winning by an average margin of 12.9 points per game. And this season, although it wasn't that good, it was still the 8th most of all time, even with all the injuries to their players. Last year, they also had the second best net rating in NBA history, only behind the 95-96 Chicago Bulls, who went 72-10. This team is being led by head coach Mark Daigneault, who's only 41 years old and has already won a championship. This guy is a perfect example of a player's coach and is just so good for this team. Because he's on the younger side, he's not as stubborn as some other head coaches, so he's able to mix things up from time to time, not being stuck in his ways, which I love. I think head coach Mark Daigneault is one of the best coaches in the NBA. And then they also have the best general manager in the game in Sam Presti, who is just got the mind of a genius when it comes to making moves and drafting really good players. We all know about their insane collection of draft capital, especially from the Paul George trade, where they also acquired SGA, which is crazy. But with this capital, they can continue to draft really, really promising young players or use them to trade for even better players. In this upcoming NBA draft, they do have the 12th overall pick, and there is some murmurings that they are wanting to move up from this pick, which they can so easily do because of all the assets that they have. And with this insanely stacked draft class, I am terrified for that. The OKC Thunder's future is so bright still, and they are so good even now. Can you imagine what Chet's going to look like in a couple years? How good's Shea going to be? Like, is this the best version of Shea that we're going to see? Probably not. Probably not. In terms of prime years, he is only just entering them now, which is crazy to say. And like I mentioned, how much is AJ Mitchell going to continue to develop? How much is J-Dub going to continue to develop? What's Chet Holmgren going to grow into? What are their draft picks going to turn into? How much better of a defender is Cason Wallace going to become? And then when they move off of players like Isaiah Hartenstein and Lou Dort, they still have Thomas Sorber coming up. Now, because Thomas Sorber did tear his ACL before the season, we didn't get to see anything from him on the NBA court, so he's pretty unproven. We don't know what he's going to be like, but still, I'm pretty certain that that guy can be a really positive defender as well. There is no limit to how good this OKC Thunder squad can be with Sam Presti at the wheel. Then we move on to the San Antonio Spurs, who you guys know is my favorite team in the NBA. And although not as deep as the OKC Thunder, they have still been able to build an incredible young core led by the most dominant and impactful two-way player that we have ever seen in 22-year-old Victor Wembanyama, who is just incredible. They also have Dylan Harper, who has impressed me so much and is proving why he was one of the top 2 players in the 2025 NBA draft. And alongside him, they still have Stephon Castle as well, who is an elite two-way player and is only 21 years old as well. But this team all starts with Victor Wembanyama. This guy is going to be the greatest defensive player that we have ever seen. He will win so many Defensive Player of the Year awards that trophy will be renamed after him. The things that Victor Wembanyama is able to do on the basketball court is elite. It is insane. When he is down low in the paint, nobody can score on him. And it is so crazy to see. This dude already, I have been hearing talks that he is up there with some of the greatest peaks of all time, especially on the defensive end. He is already breaking records that Tim Duncan, who is a top 10 player of all time, set. Victor Wembanyama is already the most impactful player in the NBA, even more so than Shea and Jokic. And this isn't just me coming from a biased point of view, the stats back this. He had the best net rating in the NBA this season. He had the best on-off rating in the NBA this season. And in the postseason as well, he is leading the team on both sides of the floor. When we saw Victor Wembanyama really struggle in Game 1 against the Minnesota Timberwolves, they won only by 2 points. And then when Victor Wembanyama gets ejected in Game 4, the Spurs lost by only 5 points. But in the games that Victor Wembanyama has played in and looked dominant, the Spurs have won convincingly. Yesterday, they win by 28 points. Game 2, they win by 30 plus. Game 3, they only won by 7, but Victor Wembanyama went crazy in the fourth quarter. This goes to show how much experience doesn't really matter when you have a generational talent in Victor Wembanyama. The amount of people on my videos or other posts who commented saying experience is gonna overcome everything, you guys need to take into account that Victor Wembanyama is going to be the most impactful player we have ever seen. Because of his sheer size and defensive prowess, this dude is a game changer. I talk about Victor Wembanyama all the time, and if you guys don't know what Wemby provides on the court, I don't know what you're doing, because this guy is incredible. He is going to be the best player in the NBA in the next couple of seasons, if he isn't already. In my opinion, he's been better in the playoffs than SGA. Although Shea is scoring more points, Wemby is impacting the game even more. And in the Lakers series, the Thunder were actually better when Shea was not on the court, which is crazy to say. But without Wemby on the court, the Spurs team doesn't do as well. They still play really well, obviously, but Wemby is obviously the driving force behind this team. Dylan Harper, the number 2 overall pick out of Rutgers in the 2025 NBA draft, started the season a little bit slow and then he went on to strain his calf, so he missed a significant amount of time. But him in the playoffs, as a 20-year-old rookie, is looking way better than De'Aaron Fox, who is a 2-time All-Star and an already established player. He is an incredible downhill attacker, seemingly able to finish with both hands whenever he wants at the rim. His touch on his float game, on his reverse layups or his insane finishes around the basket is insane and something that I don't think we have ever seen from a 20-year-old player in the entire NBA history. The jumper as well was something that was in question to start the season, but this has really come around, where he is shooting in the playoffs 38% from 3 and 55% from the field, for a true shooting percentage of 64% as a rookie, averaging 14 points per game off the bench in the playoffs. And the thing as well, he can operate in the post. His handle is crazy. I don't see him get stripped of the ball very often at all. And he is being hounded by Ayo Dosunmu, Jaden McDaniels, Anthony Edwards. This dude is looking so ahead of schedule, way beyond his years. He is so good, man. This dude is going to be an elite point guard, a multi-time All-Star, an All-NBA player for many years to come. He is doing all of this off the bench, and in my opinion, he should be starting ahead of De'Aaron Fox. He definitely should be next season. Goodness gracious. But the thing is as well, Dylan Harper is an incredible two-way player. Because of the fact that he is 6'5", with a plus wingspan, and the fact that he's just big and stocky, he's super strong, he is able to stay in front of whoever he is guarding. He has been picking up Anthony Edwards a lot of the time in these playoffs, or in this playoff series anyway. He's super athletic. He can dunk on anybody. Dylan Harper's future is so bright, and I'm so excited to see what him and Wemby can do in the future. And then alongside Dylan Harper, the running mate, Stephon Castle, who has taken an absolute insane leap after winning Rookie of the Year last season. He is the dog of this team. He is the enforcer of this team. Standing at 6 feet 7 inches tall with incredible strength, Stephon Castle is a top 3 POA defender and probably the best perimeter player or defender in the NBA. You could probably argue Asar Thompson there as well, but I think that he's a better perimeter defender than Jaden McDaniels as well. You could easily have him as the best perimeter defender in the entire NBA, and in my opinion, he should make an all-defensive team this season. Do I think he will? I've got no idea, because I think a lot of the time when you talk about the San Antonio Spurs defense, it is Victor Wembanyama, which of course, he's the best defensive player that we have in the NBA and is the best defender that we've seen in a very long time. But Stephon Castle is also an elite defensive presence. He's super athletic. He can also dunk on literally anybody, and his rim pressure is insane. He's improved on his handle a lot, and he had a lot of turnover issues to start the season, but has since brought that back down, which is incredible. Still a little bit more than you'd like, but it's definitely improved. The dude never gives up. He is always running after everybody, face guarding whoever he needs. At the moment, he is guarding Julius Randle and has made him look completely obsolete in the Minnesota Timberwolves offense. You have to keep in mind, Stephon Castle is in his second year, and he is stopping Julius Randle from being effective in any way, shape, or form. His three-point shot as well was something that we weren't so sure about, but that is definitely on an upward trajectory as well. He is a triple-double threat at any point. He had an insane monster 40-point triple-double against the Dallas Mavericks this season as well. I also want to very quickly talk about Carter Bryant, because although that dude does not play a lot of the time, he's so much fun. I love Carter Bryant. He is going to be a very good 3-and-D player in a couple years. He, as well, incredibly athletic, incredibly physical. He can dunk on anybody as well. He's done a great job on Anthony Edwards in this playoff series as well. And although I do think that Carter Bryant is clearly still very raw and has a lot of things he needs to improve on, like his defensive discipline and his lateral movement, but he is also going to be a very important piece for the San Antonio Spurs for many years to come. But Victor Wembanyama, Dylan Harper, and Stephon Castle in the next 2 years will be the best trio in the NBA. They also have De'Aaron Fox here, who has really been disappointing in these playoffs so far. But for the future, De'Aaron Fox has been a very, very good mentor for both Dylan and Steph this whole season. And then when the Spurs are ready to move off of him, hopefully sooner rather than later, they can attach a couple picks, because they have a lot of picks, onto him to go after either a big forward to go alongside Wemby or a big wing who's able to shoot the ball. And then as well, the Spurs just have elite depth as well, like I mentioned, although it's not like Case and Wallace, Alex Caruso, Jay Will, AJ Mitchell, etc. They still have 2 elite sharpshooters in Devin Vassell and Julian Champagnie. They have Luke Cornett, who is one of the 2 best backup bigs in the entire NBA. Keldon Johnson's here as well, who won 6th Man of the Year this season. There is no shortage of talent on this team. And although they do have a couple things that they need to address, like I mentioned, another big-ish wing or a bigger power forward to pair alongside Wemby, this team is so good, man. And because of all of these pieces, this team had the biggest jump in terms of wins from last season to this season, where they won 28 more games this year then last, which is tied 8th all time in terms of the biggest season-to-season win jump. They are led by head coach Mitch Johnson, who was under the greatest coach of all time, Greg Popovich, for a very long time before ultimately taking up the mantle to replace Greg Popovich, who unfortunately had to step away due to health reasons. But he also is always going to have Greg Popovich in his ear, giving him advice and just helping him out. Greg Popovich is such a secret weapon. Was the worst kept secret, I guess you could say, when it comes to helping the Spurs, because there was that whole story after game 1 of the Spurs loss to the Timberwolves. Greg Popovich sat in on the film session to help go over things with them, and then the Spurs ended up winning by more than 30 points, which is ridiculous. But Greg Popovich is insane. Mitch Johnson is only 39. He is younger than LeBron, which is huge because he's being mentored by Greg Popovich. And then he's going to be able to carry that same mantra and hopefully be somewhere. I mean, he's not going to ever be as impactful as Greg Popovich because Greg Popovich is the GOAT. But if Mitch Johnson can even somewhat duplicate what Greg Popovich did, which he is doing, by the way, this is going to be so important for the Spurs for the upcoming years. And like I said very quickly earlier, although they don't have as many picks as the OKC Thunder, especially from other teams, they do still own a lot of their own picks, meaning that, let's say, God forbid, something happens and they have a down season, they've got a good pick. But they still do have pieces that they can trade. Like I mentioned, De'Aaron Fox, attach a couple picks onto that, boom, great. And the biggest thing as well, they did beat the OKC Thunder 4 out of 5 times this season, one of which no one really was playing on the Thunder. But 4 of those games, the Thunder had pretty much everybody. They never were fully healthy, but neither were the Spurs. You guys have to remember that Victor Wembanyama was injured for the first 3 games, and he was still so dominant defensively coming off the bench. And they won by an average margin of 5.2, which is heavily, diminished because of the fact that the one game the Thunder won, they won by 21 points. I think for both of these teams, a huge factor that goes into why they are so good is that they have the best team chemistries in the entire NBA. Every single player on these teams loves each other. They will ride for each other. And I think that is so important when it comes to building a dynasty. These two teams will run the NBA for ages, and it might be the next big rivalry that we see. If these teams end up going up against each other in the Western Conference Finals, I will go more in depth on their actual matchups and how I think someone could slow someone down or how someone could take advantage of something else. But these two teams are poised to be dynasties headlined by the 2 best players in the NBA, who will be the 2 best players in the NBA for years to come. But that will be all from me for this video about the OKC Thunder and the San Antonio Spurs and why I think they are inevitably gonna run the NBA. Let me know what you guys think about both of these teams and the future that they hold. I know a lot of people hate the OKC Thunder right now, but you have to admit that they are a really good team, and that is why you hate them. But yeah, let me know in the comments who you think has got the brighter future out of both of these teams. And as always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.